Hi, Caitlin. Hey, guys. Hey, Harry, how you doing?
Good, Doug. How are you?
Very well, thanks. We'll just see if we get a few more people in here before I go ahead and get started.
Excellent idea.
Hi, Kathy.
Hey, Doug.
How
Hi,
you doing?
Caitlin.
Hello.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hello.
All right. Check my time here. It's a couple of minutes after 11. Okay, so I don't have a massive agenda set up for this meeting, guys. I want to make sure that I'm answering your questions. So I want to start with, who is brand new to DocuSign? Anybody? If you're muted, just press your space bar to speak if you want it. Okay.
Yeah, I am.
You're brand new to it? Okay. Anybody else brand new to DocuSign? No? Okay. So Jeremy, real quick, I'm going to give you just a quick rundown. Have you logged in even?
Yes, I have. And I was kind of tinkering with it a bit.
Okay. So I'm going to show you real quick how to start an envelope and then send a document for signature. And then I'm going to go through how to use web forms to get documents in there real quick, so you know how to do that. And then I thought a couple of things that I would talk about is questions that I get from you guys on a regular basis, two of them. One is, how do I get extra documents into an envelope after I've already started it, right? So I'm using web forms and I'm shifting all my documents over to DocuSign. And once I'm there, how do I add the Schedule B? Or somebody wants to include a survey as a Schedule C, something like that. How do I get that document in there? So I want to show you how to do that. And doing a sign back. I get questions all the time. Well, what if I get a sign back? How do I deal with it? Do I put it back in web forms, or can I do it in DocuSign? So we'll go over that too, okay? So is that good for everybody? Was there anything else that you expected to see today that I haven't talked about? Just push your space bar and let me know.
Doug, have you done how to build your, like, a standard forms, you know, with like the purchase of sale and all the standard clauses in it?
So that
Like-
would be a web forms class or crafting an offer class. This is DocuSign. So I really just want to show you how to use DocuSign to get electronic signatures done.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
so, but I'm more than happy to do that. That's another question I'm going to be sending out to everybody anyway, is what else do you want to see? Like, what other classes do you want to see this week? Just so you know, I am going to do tomorrow, probably tomorrow. I'm going to do a class on the website design. I'm going to talk about how to add a page to your website and create some links, that kind of thing. I'm going to do crafting conditions, how to write a good condition for an offer. What are the components that need to be there for a condition to be effective and legal? And then filling out an offer. Just how do you complete an offer? What goes in each blank? Because I'm seeing a lot of little itsy bitsy errors and maybe some habits forming from some folks that probably aren't the best or most conducive to their offers being accepted or being enforceable. So that's kind of what I'm going to go through this week, unless you guys had something specific. And if there is, if it's not this week, it's next week. I'll do some more of this stuff. Okay. So that's what we're planning on doing this week. So I'm going to get to today's session. So real quick, how to start an envelope, and then how to connect documents from a kit in web forms into DocuSign, and then how to go through that process. Okay. So here we go. Okay. So
what the hell just happened?
all right. So this is DocuSign. Dave, do you mind muting yourself? Do you know how to do that?
No.
No? Okay. Let me do that for you. There. You're muted now, Dave. You can still hear us, but all you'll hear is me talking. Okay. If you need to speak, you have a question, hold down your space bar on your keyboard, ask your question, then release the space bar, kind of like a walkie-talkie, okay? All right, so you've signed into DocuSign and you want to start the process of getting signatures on a document, okay? So what we're going to do, hang on. So we're going to hit this big yellow button here that says new, okay? So when we click that button, we get 4 options: send an envelope, sign a document, use a template, or create a power form. The templates and power forms, we're going to set those aside entirely for the moment. They are very powerful. Excuse me. If you were becoming a bit of a power user in this and you had the exact same process for every single offer you ever did, you can actually set up a template once, and then every time you bring a new set of documents into DocuSign, you can force them to use the template so that all of the signatures and initials are already in the right place. But it's complicated, and it's a little bit outside of what I want to talk about today. Typically, you're going to use send an envelope, and think of this as literally sending something through the mail. You're putting your documents into an envelope, indicating with your pen. Take your pen and just draw circles. You know, if you've been around long enough, you had the little stamps for offers that you would have people actually, you'd tell them, I'm going to put little circles. I need you to initial in the circle, and that's kind of what DocuSign does. So you're going to say send an envelope. Sign a document is if you need to sign something yourself. You receive a notice of fulfillment, for example, on behalf of your seller, and you want to do the acknowledgement. You can do it in DocuSign using sign a document. But typically, you're sending paperwork out to get signatures. So you're going to do send an envelope. When I click that, it's going to go to the next screen. And it's going to say at the top here, add documents to the envelope. Right now it's empty. I've got to put something in it. So if I click upload, any PDF or Word document can be added to this. So let me just see if I've got one. Test kit. So this is a PDF of a kit that I did before, I believe. We'll see here in a second. Give it a moment to upload. And again, I apologize, my internet is not super fast out here. Once it's here, we should see a preview of it on the screen. So you're going to grab any PDF or Word document from your computer and upload it into the envelope. And once it's there, we'll see what it is. Yeah, there it is, 18 pages. So that's an entire kit. I'm going to scroll down the screen, and I have to add recipients. DocuSign needs to know who to send this to. Who do I need signatures from, right? So I would go here, and I'm going to put the client's name. I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm going to type Doug Lytle. So be sure that you use capital letters where necessary. We're all used to typing on our phones, and when you type, it automatically puts the capital letters. So we've gotten lazy on this stuff, okay? It's important here because this is what will actually show up when the person actually does their signatures with capital letters. So just be careful, put capital letters in, okay? It makes a difference. And email address, straightforward, okay? If there's more than one buyer or more than one seller, I can click add recipient and add additional people to the document, okay? It's important that each person signing the document has a separate email address, okay? So just keep that in mind. I get questions all the time. It's an older couple and they've got one simpatico address between the two of them. Well, there used to be a way to make that work, but it's much more problematic today to use DocuSign that way. So I would suggest that you either create an account for them in Gmail or show them how to do it or send them a little video on how to do that, but they really should have separate email addresses to do this properly, okay? So I'm going to assume I've got all my recipients ready to go here. This is all I've got to do on this page. I can scroll down here and give the email subject line a custom subject line. I can put a separate email message in here. The most I would probably put in this would be call me to discuss before signing. It's important that you tell them that either in writing or on the phone when you're doing this with them. If they go through this and just click, click, click and sign this thing and haven't actually read the document, it could be deemed to be unenforceable. So make sure you spend the time and go through the contract with them in detail before they actually do the process of signing it, digitally or otherwise, okay? So I'm gonna click next up here in the top corner. This takes what I've just input into the first page over to the next page. So I've got all of my documents here. I can scroll down and see exactly what they look like, okay? And on the left-hand side, my list of recipients. So start starting at the top corner here. If I click this drop down, if there was more than one name, more than one recipient, they would be here. and they each have a separate colored circle next to them. So it starts with yellow, then goes blue, purple, pink, just so you can differentiate the different people who are signing the document, okay? So I'm going to go through this document, and I'm not going to do the whole thing right now. I want to show you quickly how to do this. I'm going to put, I need this person, I'm going to pretend I was the buyer in this instance, acknowledged by names. And this is where it's important that you've used capital letters. I'm going to just select name and drag this over here. Full name drops in, okay? Now, on the completed document, it'll say Doug Lytle there because that's what I input in that first screen, right? Over here, name of the brokerage, so I'm going to click company and drop that in there. Or I can type it in with a text box. Let me show you how to do that. Grab a text box, place it on the line. Now you'll see when I move the box around, you can see the word text underneath there, and the yellow box is kind of translucent. Wherever I drop the box, that text will appear exactly where it shows there on that line. So it's important that I kind of line it up. Technically, it doesn't matter, but we're used to seeing words on lines. We're used to seeing signatures on lines. So just to keep it the convention, we try to line it up. Okay. Now, I did that on purpose to show you it doesn't all fit automatically. So I've got to grab one of these corners and drag it across. Why isn't it working? There it goes. There. Now, the finished product, the yellow box will disappear. All you'll see is the text on that line. When it's printed out or you get the final PDF back with signatures on it, you won't see the yellow box anymore, okay? Then I need an initial. This person's going to be a client here, so I'm going to click initial. Drop it in. Again, I'm putting the line on the line so that it lines up when it's complete. And then I'm going to get a signature right here. And I'm just grabbing a date signed and putting that there. So far, all we've done is put the person's name in, the name of the brokerage, where we need them to initial and sign, and date it. Does anybody have any questions on that so far? This is the basics of using DocuSign. No? Okay. So I would go through this entire process, and then when I was completed, I would click send, right? I go through all of the associated documents, add initials where necessary, right? Add signatures where necessary, and then click send to get this document off to the client so they can act on it, okay? What if I have an additional document? I've got a Schedule B that I need to add to this, right? Somebody's got on their listing in the attachment section, in the document section, they've got their Schedule B for their company because they have an interest-bearing trust account, right? And we want to add that document to this, but we couldn't put that document into web forms and then have it come over with us, so we need to add it here. I've already got a bunch of documents in. How I do that is click right here where it says documents, and there's a gear. Click the gear, and then click edit documents. Okay, then I can either click upload or drag and drop a file. So I'm going to click upload. And I'm just going to grab a random PDF because it doesn't matter. Come on, computer, finish it off. There we go. And then I click done. And when I scroll to in a moment, this should say 21 pages. I scroll to the bottom. Oh, here we go. EDI best practices. There's those 3 additional pages. 1, 2, 3. Right? So if I needed to go down here and get an initial on the side, I could just grab that and drop it in. So I had my initial documents that I put in there, and then I hit the gear and added more forms to the kit. Okay? Any questions on that, guys? Okay. Then I would just click send.
Yeah, Doug?
Yeah, Donna, go ahead.
Here.
Yeah.
So all these forms, obviously I haven't done that you were selecting from.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to install them, or are they already there?
Those are just documents that I happen to have on my computer, right? So if you're, if you've created them or if someone else has created them and sent them to you via email, you would just have them on your phone, on your iPad, or on your computer, and you just go into DocuSign and upload them back into DocuSign to allow for signatures. Does that answer the question?
Kind of, yeah. So I don't have them available like you do. I have to kind of manually do them, is what you're saying.
So these are just saved on my computer. Yeah. So if someone was emailing me these files, I would just go to my email and then, you know, pull them out of the email onto my computer, go to the DocuSign website, and then upload those
Okay,
files
yeah.
to that. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I just need to put them in so that I can access them for. is what I
Yeah,
need to
you
do.
either need to
Okay.
have those files on your computer so that you can access them, or you need to create them in web forms and then send them over.
That's
Okay?
that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
thanks.
Okay, so let me show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go into web forms, and I've got a dummy kit here. This is one I set up last week when I was doing web forms training. So I log into web forms, I create the kit. I've got all my documentation set up. I've got everything looking the way I want it to. I'm going to click on the kit that I want to manipulate. Right. So this 100 Any Street, it's a fake kit. There's all the forms within that kit. Right. So I'm going to click Forms. And then I'm going to choose the forms that I need to have signed, okay? So I'm going to choose this one, not FinTrack, confirmation of cooperation, and agreement. So I got 4 documents that I need signatures on, right? Once I've selected the documents that I need signatures on inside web forms, I click this basket, and then I go up here to send to third-party vendor, and choose DocuSign. So I've previously linked my DocuSign account to my web forms. I've created the kit, and now I'm going to send them to DocuSign. So all it did is open a new tab up here. It's opening DocuSign and inserting those documents. The difference is going to be minor here, but I'm going to show you. So here's the difference. It skipped that first step. Earlier, when I went to the DocuSign website directly, I had to create an envelope, add recipients, and add my documents. This time, DocuSign is receiving those documents directly from web forms, so I don't have to add them. They're already there, but I do have to add my recipients still. Because the system doesn't automatically know, DocuSign is not part of web forms. It's a third-party provider. So DocuSign doesn't know who the names are on the offer. I have to tell it. Here's my recipient. So I click Add Recipients. Again, I'm going to use myself as an example. And if I had a second person, all I do is click Add Recipient and put that person in there. So I'm going to use you, Don. I'm going to use you as my example. Don O'Shaughnessy. All right. So it knows because it's got my contact list in here, and I don't honestly know how it got in there, but and yours might not do that, but mine for some reason knows you guys. So I've got the 2 of us on there as recipients. I'm going to click Done. And now up in the corner here, you can see, look, it's got 2 recipients, right? And there are different color codes on them, so I know which one's which. Okay. Now I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to add signatures. So I'm in blue this time. Right. So I've got my signature. Oh, I need an initial. And I'm not going to do them all, guys. I just want to show you the example. Then I'm going to switch recipients. I got to switch to Donna. Right. And now it's all in yellow. So I need a signature. So Donna needs to sign as well. I need to indicate the date that she signed. And she's got to initial here as well. Okay. Does that make sense? So first time around was creating an envelope directly in DocuSign. Second time was going to web forms and choosing forms within a kit that I need signatures on, sending them to DocuSign, and now we're ready to send that off for signatures. Any questions on that process? No? Okay.
Could you send it to me and see that I can send it back, or is that possible?
Yeah, sure. I'll send it to you right now. Now, because I didn't choose a signing order, we will both get it at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we can sign it in counterpart. So you can sign it, I can sign it separately, and then it gets merged back into a complete document at the end.
Okay.
Okay. And everybody gets a copy along the way.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. So let me show you what that looks like on my end. There's that 100 Any Street. Now this is what the client would see, guys, because I put myself in as a recipient. So I'm pretending I'm the client now, right? Now the client would have one extra step. When I click Review Documents, It's going to go directly to the page for signature. Your client will receive, the first time they use this, they'll be prompted to choose a signature to sign with. Okay, not a big deal. They can just pick one from the list. It doesn't matter if it looks like their real signature. In fact, the one I use in here doesn't look like my real signature. It doesn't matter. It's a graphic representation of a digital signature. So tell them it doesn't matter, just pick one, okay? So this is what the customer would see. Click continue, and then click start. So this is part of the discussion you'd have to have with them on the phone when they go through the process of actually signing this. So Donna's already done hers. That's how quick she was. And then I just click initial and sign, and then click finish. You can see now it's a completed document. If I click continue, it will be sent to your email address when completed by all signers. So Donna's already done it. So I'm going to go back to my email, click the inbox, and hopefully in a moment, there, look at that, DocuSign via DocuSign completed. So when I click this, 2 ways to access the finished document. View completed documents, that button right there, or even simpler, this is the way I like to do it, is just scroll to the bottom of the email, and there are all the associated PDFs in that kit, okay? So if I click this first one, this is the working with the realtor form, the one that's the only one we signed, there they are. Look, there's my initials, Donna's, my signature, and Donna's, okay? Very straightforward. And then I can download this and send it to anyone I want, send it to Kayla if it was a completed offer, for example. I could forward it off to another agent if I needed to do it by email. I can print it and then go and present in person. Even though it's digital signatures, a paper copy is still normal. You can still print it off and go and present it in normal times. Don't get me wrong. But you can do all of those things. You can have a combination of real signatures and digital signatures, okay? But yeah, very straightforward. Excuse me, not the only, but the extra thing you get in here is a summary. The summary PDF is not part of the offer. It's not necessary that you turn it in with your documents to the office, but just for interest's sake, this is the audit trail. This is how we can prove when it was delivered to specific email addresses, when it was viewed, and when it was signed, okay? Right to the second. And at specific IP addresses. So there's Donna's IP address, here's my IP address, okay? If you ever get challenged, you can show them, Your Honor, here's the summary document, the audit trail, and this number at the top right here matches the number that will be at the top of every page in the digital signed copy as well, okay? So it's trackable. If I click this, you can see that digital number at the top there, okay? Any questions on that? Just want to check my time. Bumping up against our time limit here. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was doing a counteroffer, right? So you get an offer back from someone and you need to close. And you want to do a sign back, right? So usually you get those emailed back directly to your email address, right? So you've been going back and forth on this, and you want to do a digital counter offer. So rather than print it and handwrite changes on the offer and then scan it and send it back for signatures and initials, you can do it all digitally, okay? So let me show you how to do that. So we're making the assumption, and I'm going to just use this one that I just received here, okay? So I've got this document. I'm going to save this computer. I've received this email back from the other agent. We're pretending now that it was an offer that I received from someone else with changes on it, okay? So I'm going to download this file to my computer, okay? And you can see here is where the file is stored. I'm going to go back to DocuSign. And just like when we did the original process of starting an envelope so we can get signatures on an initial offer, we're going to do exactly the same thing again here. I'm going to click New, send an envelope. And I'm going to put that file right there that I need to get changes on. I'm going to just drag and drop it in here. So that's the second way to get a file into DocuSign. First is to click Upload, and the second is to drag and drop it just like that, okay? So there's that form. If I needed other forms from that offer to be initialed, I would add those here as well. It doesn't matter which one is here. I'm just showing this as an example. The system doesn't care what the form is. It's just that it's a PDF, okay? So I need to send it back to myself, to my client for changes. Okay, so was there a question? Okay. So let's pretend, I know it's not what you would normally see, but let's pretend that this is a clause in an offer that I want to make changes to right here, okay? So there's a couple of things I can do. I can click the markup tools, grab the line tool, and then draw a line across the text that I want to delete. Oh, let's pretend I just drew that line across there. Right? I want to delete that part of the clause and then have my client initial that change so that we can say, look, we don't want that section. I'm going to go back here to standard fields, click initial, drop that initial in there. Okay. Now I've deleted some text. What if I want to replace it with some other text? I just grab the text box, drop it in here, and then start typing what I want. So this is replacement text.
Doug, there's sometimes not enough room. Wouldn't you be crushed for space so you couldn't understand that text? Sorry?
So that would happen in exactly the same in a normal offer. So what would you answer the question for me? What would you do if you were handwriting an offer doing a sign back?
Put it down at the bottom or drag
Exactly.
it down.
Exactly
Okay.
what you do here too. So you would just grab a text box and put it down here, right?
Okay, where there's room.
Draw your text. Yeah, exactly right. Wherever there's room, if you need to do that, that's exactly what you do here too. Okay.
Okay, yep, thanks.
Good question. Good question. Okay. So and then once I've got all those completed, again, I would have my multiple recipients perhaps. I would just make sure I put all of the initials in where necessary. And then I would just click send it to my client. They would receive another email with another link to click here to review documents. They would go through and click their initials, and then it'd be emailed back to me automatically once it's all completed. And then I could now I've got my sign back, and then I can take that and take it to the realtor again, or to my client, my seller client.
Does the whole offer go to them or just that one page?
Whichever document you send to them. So if it's a multi-page document, then the whole thing would go. So if it was the entire, like if you were getting typically it would be the offer, right? It'd be 6, 7, 8 pages long. So yeah, the whole thing would go to them, but it's digital. So you're not creating a whole bunch of paper. It's really simple. And when they initial and make changes to it, they're not going through the entire document. It jumps just to those places where there are changes.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
So it keeps it pretty straightforward. Okay.
Right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, did you have any other questions for me? No? If you do come up with questions, I am recording this. I'm going to post it in the group. Any other questions come up about anything we talked about today, let me know, and I'm happy to try to answer those for you, okay? But until then, that's what I had for you, okay? So I hope that's helpful. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Doug.
You're welcome.
Bye.
You know.